Hello everyone, I'm Fernando Espinoza Cuadros, and in this talk I'm going to present our work titled Speaker Identification System using Autoencoders and Adversarial Training. This work was performed in a research collaboration between Sigma Technologies speech team and the Signal Processing Group from the Universidad Politécnica de Madrid. The agenda of this presentation is the following. In the first part, the introduction describes briefly the main scope of the Voice Privacy Initiative and a description of privacy studies on speaker de-identification systems. Next, a brief description of the system and experimental setup are presented. Then we continue with results of the proposed identification system. Finally, the conclusion along with some suggestions of the Voice Privacy Challenge are presented. So let's start with the objective of Voice Privacy Initiative and related works. It is known that new connected services collect personal data, increasing the risk for the user's privacy. Even spoken language interface and voice assistants increase this risk because voice is defined as a personally identifiable information. And if it is intercepted, it might be hacked by using the voice to impersonate the user or extract relevant information about this speaker. To protect the data, cryptography-based solutions might be used. However, they involve a large complexity and computationally overhead. So as a solution, the best way to protect the user might reside in the anonymization method, which is more flexible, allowing also the removal of personally identifiable information between a speech signal, while maintaining the intelligibility and naturalness of the speech. Nevertheless, until recently, there has not been a formal definition of what is anonymization. As well, there is no benchmark in the speech anonymization, or the information about existing solutions for speech anonymization is unclear since there is no common datasets, protocols, and metrics. As a solution, there is the Voice Privacy Initiative, which defines metrics, protocols, and a benchmark on common datasets. The works carried out on these topics are limited. For instance, there are those based on voice transformation methods or those based on phoneme recognition followed by speech synthesis from the phoneme sequence, or a current research work which carry out a speaker identification by averaging a set of X vector from a pool of pre-trained X vector and choosing the most dissimilar X vector as an anonymized X vector. Based on this work, we propose an X vector anonymization method based on adversarial training techniques and autoencoders. Domain adversarial training has been used to improve automatic speech recognition by learning features invariant to different conditions such as acoustic variables, accented speech, and interspeaker feature variability. It has been also used in speaker privacy protection and speaker invariant training. After a brief introduction of the Voice Privacy Initiative and related work, in this part we describe the system description. We will show the autoencoder adversarial network and the X-vector anonymization approach for the voice anonymization. It's important to point out that we didn't start from the scratch. Instead, we replaced the baseline X-vector anonymization module by our proposed method. The autoencoder adversarial network consists of an autoencoder along with an adversarial network with 3 different adversarial branches. The main idea behind this approach is the reconstruction of the input X vector while removing the information related to the speaker characteristics, for instance, speaker ID, gender, and accent from the latent feature by means domain adversarial training. This network was trained using the VoxLE1 datasets, which contain around 330 hours of recording from 1,000 251 speakers. As a result, we have proposed two different approaches for X-vector anonymization. In the first approach, the autoencoder adversarial network is used as X-vector anonymizer, whereas in the second approach, the baseline X-vector anonymization module is used as an input to the autoencoder adversarial network. In this way, we expect that some speaker traits are removed from the random X-vector generated by the baseline. Now we continue with the experimental setup. Both approaches were evaluated under the rules of the VoicePrivacy challenge. For the automatic speech recognition and automatic speaker verification task, Libre Speech and VCTK datasets were used. Similarly, for automatic speaker verification task, we use the equal error rate and the log likelihood rated cost function. And for automatic speech recognition, we use the word error rate. So in this part, we present the anonymization performance for the proposed approaches for each task. In the case of automatic speaker recognition, both approaches overcome the baseline performance in terms of equal error rates, in particular in the voice size anonymization condition. As we can see in the figure, in the best case, there is an increase of performance of 10% over the baseline. These results show that the use of adversarial training introduces additional variability to the reconstructed X-vector that can lead to the observed increase in speaker de-identification. In case of automatic speech recognition task, as we can see in the figure, only a small difference in performance in terms of word error rate between baseline and the proposed approach are seen. Finally, we show some conclusions and suggestions on the VoicePrivacy challenge. So we conclude that two methods of X-vector anonymization have been proposed based on Autoencoder adversarial network. These methods outperform the baseline performance in both size anonymization conditions by removing the speaker characteristics, in particular speaker ID, gender, and answer, while preserving the intelligibility of the speech. In addition, these results show the potential of adversarial training techniques and generative models to remove personally identifiable information and generate speaker invariant features. So, a suggestion we propose: the evaluation of the impact of the anonymization techniques applied to the real industry applications, for instance, to supplies to database annotation tasks and speaker labeling for derization applications. We also propose the evaluation of the annotation time and quality. For instance, real speech and anonymized speech. And as additional subjective metrics, we propose the following. From a speech dataset with a speaker characteristic labeled previously, we propose to estimate those speaker characteristics by listening anonymized data. Then, several annotators are required to measure the distance between the real and the estimated characteristics. Finally, as a future work, besides the suppression of a speaker characteristic by means adversarial learning and generative models, we propose the modification of prosodic features that could improve the anonymization of the speech waveform. So, thank you for attending this talk.